Hello, my name's Simon Benny Edwards, and I'm the Chief Executive of the Expert Witness Institute. And it's my pleasure to give you an update on EWI certification, the application process, and how you can apply. So, first off, why is this important? Why have we spent the time making sure that we get our certification level right and that the process is right? Well, as I'm sure you're aware, expert witnesses are coming under greater scrutiny, and we've seen more and more examples coming through from judgments where expert witnesses are being identified as not following their duties to the courts for very key cases that have been highlighted on this page. But even since then, there have been others that we identify on our news items. So the first one, Powell versus Damon, was where the expert's report failed to comply with practically every requirement, and it was clear that the expert was acting as an advocate for the claimant. Patricia Andrews and Oars versus Kronospan is a very key one. The claimant's expert was found to have been conferring and sorting opinions from the claimant's solicitors on issues relevant to the ongoing joint expert discussions and the joint statement, and that resulted in the senior master Barbara Fontaine revoking £225,000 worth of expert evidence that had been used because the expert was identified as being biased as part of that investigation. In Palmer versus Mantas and Orr, they really highlighted it was issues to do with bias, so bias towards the other side, and particularly levels of unconscious bias that were coming through in their oral evidence. And finally, with Reynolds versus Stanbury, the judge concluded that the expert's report was an unimpressive, results-driven piece of work. His attempts to defend it in oral testimony were entirely unpersuasive. In my judgment, very little weight can be placed on the expert's written and oral expert evidence. So in an environment where anyone can put themselves forward as an expert witness, it's really important for expert witnesses to really take the time to demonstrate that they have the skills, the knowledge, and the ability to deliver for instructing parties, and ensure that they are signing up to the code of professional conduct that we aspire to. And a really lovely quote here, a nice reminder from Her Honour Judge Anija Deer at our conference a year or two ago. When an expert gives their opinion well, it has a devastating impact on the outcome of a trial. So they shouldn't underestimate the importance of their evidence and the importance of getting it right. And this is really where certification comes in. We have developed certification as to offer instructing parties a unique method for identifying experts whose knowledge, skills, and practice have been validated by a professional body, providing them with assurance that the instruction of a certified expert provides them with an expert who understands their role and can ultimately deliver. It builds on our current assessment processes and vetting procedures for membership, particularly thinking about our processes for individual members. But the key difference here is that whilst some of our other levels of membership focuses on a smaller amount of the core competencies. So, for example, individual membership very much focuses on the report, your CPD, on your area of expertise. This assesses all of the core competencies that we have identified that an expert witness might need. And so therefore, when it does come to for instructing experts, if they're looking at certified expert witness, they know that they've got someone who has been assessed against all of those areas. It is based on recognition and validation of actual practice. So we are very much looking at things that you've done. So reports, it's a report from a closed case that has been anonymized. So it's a real life example with discussions of experts. We're looking about reflection on your real practice joint statements if you've got them, looking at an actual joint statement. And we are also you're going to be undertaking a cross-examination. So we're going to be looking at your actual practice. Individuals commit as part of a certification. So being a certified expert, you're committing to undertaking ongoing CPD, and it lasts for 5 years. So it's not forever. So after which we do ask you to go through the program again to revalidate, to retain your certified status. As I say, the certification looks right across the core competency framework. So we look at, these are the assessment criteria. These are based on all of those areas of expertise, and all of these are assessed in some way as part of your application, whether that be through the online application that you submit or further assessments that are completed as part of your application. The certification scheme is something that we've been working on for a while. It was developed and piloted in partnership with the Judicial Institute at the University College London, but it now has its academic validation through the Scottish Qualifications Authority. Scottish Qualifications Authority, or SQA, are an international qualification credit body, so they have looked at it. So by completing certification, you will actually gain 15 points at level 11, which is master's level, which you could use if you wanted to go on to do further study, if that was something that you're interested. As well as academic validation and recognition, we've also been seeking judicial recognition as well. Here's a nice quote from Lord Hodge, Deputy President of the Supreme Court. We also have one there from the Right Honourable Lord Carloway, Lord President of the Court of Session in Scotland. So we're starting to see additional endorsements come through all the time now as we speak to members of the judiciary about the programme, about its role in identifying excellent practice from expert witnesses. So in terms of the application process, there are 4 key steps to the application. The first is submitting an online application where you're going to be uploading a number of documents and making sure that your current details are up to date, providing us with various bits of information in support of your application. I'll just highlight in a moment, because it is the first step, the key things that you need to make sure that you get together when you do your application. Once you've completed your application, that information comes through to the team, and we'll have an initial check to make sure that we've got everything that we need. At that point, elements of your application, so the report assessment, will begin, but we also then start looking at a couple of other assessment steps. The second being the rules and regulations assessment. So you'll undertake a 20-question multiple choice assessment looking at the rules and regulations, and that is based on the jurisdiction and the court that the report that you submitted was submitted in. So we will make an assumption that if you've submitted something, for example, from civil courts in England and Wales, that the predominance of your work is in that area, and so therefore you'll complete a regulations assessment based on that jurisdiction. If you would prefer to do it for another jurisdiction, if, for example, you've used a report that you're particularly proud of, but actually you do your majority of work in another court, for example, criminal courts or in Scotland, please just let us know, and we'll send you the right regulation quiz. So you complete that, that's completed entirely online, and then that comes back to us. The third element is a statement about expert meetings and joint statements. So it's reflecting on practice in your jurisdiction and your experience. Now, we do recognise that not all jurisdictions have expert meetings and joint statements, and so therefore, if you don't have the experience, we are looking at you reflecting on the practice in your jurisdiction. if there is any. And we do have a range of supporting materials to support you in thinking about how you complete that statement, depending on the jurisdiction and courts that you're most used to working in. And then finally, you will complete an examination, or it's a mixture of examination in chief and cross-examination. It's based on the report that you've submitted, and really we're looking there at testing your areas of competence in an oral examination, lasting no more than 30 minutes. That will be with a barrister, an advocate, and it will predominantly be done online, although we have already run an assessment day. We will look at running possibly other dates in the future where we can bring together groups of people so that they can actually do that as an in-person assessment. But the membership team will be in contact with you to arrange that specifically with you to find a time that is convenient to do that. The other thing I should say is that this is one of the areas where we do recognise prior learning. So if you have completed the Bonsolin certificate in cross-examination, then you do indicate that as part of your application process, and we just look for evidence that you have actually completed that, and that will mean that you don't have to specifically do that if you've done it within a set period of time. Once all of that has been completed, all of that information is collated together, and then your application is assessed by team members of the membership committee, and then we will inform you of the result. So before you submit your application, it's worth bringing together all the documents and the key things that you're going to need to enable you to submit that application online. So the first thing you'll need is your latest CV. We also will be asking you to upload proof of your current regulation with your regulatory or professional body. We also ask for a list of the CPD that you've undertaken, which is relevant to your expert witness work that you've completed over the last 3 years. And you will need to have at least completed at least one piece, ideally one a year. And then as part of the application form, you do complete or write a 250-word statement, which is worth thinking about before you get to the application, which reflects on that CPD and how that's improved your practice as a result of undertaking that. You will need to submit an anonymised report from a closed case. There is information available online about how we recommend you anonymise that report. Also, where you have written a joint statement or drafted a joint statement, we ask for an anonymised joint statement. And similarly, there is also guidance on how to anonymise that joint statement online. Where you are aware that you have been named in any judgments, we also ask for a list of those to be uploaded. And finally, the details of the 3 instructing parties who can act as a referee for you. It's worth making sure that you've got all of that information together before you click on apply and start to submit. To apply, go to our website. You'll need to log in the first instance. Once you've logged in, if you go to membership and then select, you can see there apply for membership, you'll be able to see the application route, and that's the same whether you are a member of the EWI at the moment looking to upgrade your membership, or not currently a member looking to apply directly at certified expert witness level level. I hope that's been useful. If you do have any queries, please don't hesitate to contact us at membership@ewi.org.uk. Thank you.